400 years had passed since Joseph's bones were laid in Egypt. The children of Israel had multiplied into a vast people, as numerous as the stars promised to Abraham, but the blessing had become bondage. A new Pharaoh rose who knew not Joseph, and his heart was filled with fear of the Hebrews' numbers. Whips cracked in the brickyards of Egypt. Hebrew slaves toiled beneath the sun, building monuments to kings who called themselves gods. Their cries rose like incense to heaven. Mothers wept as soldiers tore infants from their arms, casting them into the Nile at Pharaoh's command. Hope seemed drowned in the waters of Egypt. But the Almighty had not forgotten his covenant. From the flames of oppression, he would raise a deliverer. In that dark decree, a Levite woman bore a son. She hid him for 3 months until she could no longer conceal his cries. With trembling faith, she placed him in a basket of reeds and set him adrift upon the Nile. The river meant for his death became the river of his deliverance. Pharaoh's own daughter found the child, his tears piercing her heart. She named him Moses, drawn out of the water. Raised in the palace of Egypt, clothed in royal splendor, he was taught the wisdom of Pharaoh's priests and warriors. Yet the blood of Israel flowed in his veins. One day, seeing an Egyptian beat a Hebrew slave, Moses' anger ignited. He struck down the oppressor and buried him in the sand. But the deed was discovered, and Moses fled into the wilderness, leaving behind Egypt's throne for a shepherd's staff. For 40 years, Moses wandered Midian's deserts, yet destiny waited at the mountain of God. There, a bush blazed with fire but was not consumed. From the flames came a voice, "Moses, Moses." "Here I am," he answered. "Remove your sandals, for the place where you stand is holy ground." The Eternal declared his name. I am who I am. He had seen the affliction of his people. He would deliver them, and Moses would be his messenger. Though Moses trembled, pleading weakness, the staff in his hand became a serpent. Then return to wood signs were given, power bestowed, and the shepherd became a prophet. Moses returned to Pharaoh, accompanied by his brother Aaron. Standing in the throne room of the world's greatest empire, he raised his voice. "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, let my people go." Pharaoh laughed in scorn. "Who is the Lord that I should obey him?" The Nile turned to blood. Frogs swarmed through Egypt's chambers. Gnats covered the land. Flies darkened the air. Pestilence struck cattle, and boils scarred flesh. Still Pharaoh hardened his heart. Then came hail that shattered trees, locusts that devoured the harvest, and darkness that smothered the land for 3 days, a darkness so thick it could be felt, yet pride endured, and so came the final plague. The Lord spoke, "At midnight I will pass through Egypt. Every firstborn shall die, but when I see the blood, I will pass over you." Each household of Israel sacrificed a spotless lamb. Its blood marked their doorposts, a shield against the angel of death. That night, Egypt wept as the firstborn of Pharaoh and slave alike fell, but the houses under the blood stood untouched. Pharaoh, broken, cried out in the night, "Rise, go out from among my people." Israel departed in haste, their bread unleavened, their staffs in hand. The Passover was born, a covenant of deliverance sealed in lamb's blood, foreshadowing a greater redemption to come. Pharaoh's heart turned once more to rage. With chariots and armies, he pursued Israel to the edge of the Red Sea. Trapped between water and steel, the people despaired, but Moses lifted his staff. The sea split with a roar, walls of water rising like fortresses. A dry path appeared, and Israel walked between the depths. When Egypt pursued, the waters thundered back, chariots splintered, soldiers drowned, and Pharaoh's pride was crushed beneath the sea. On the far shore, Miriam led the women in song. "Sing to the Lord, For he has triumphed gloriously, horse and rider he has thrown into the sea. The desert tested Israel's faith. Hunger gnawed, thirst consumed, and rebellion murmured. Yet God rained bread from heaven, manna, white as frost, sweet as honey. He brought water from the rock when Moses struck it. When Amalek attacked, Israel prevailed as long as Moses' hands were raised, upheld by Aaron and Hur. God was not only their deliverer, he was their sustainer. At Sinai, the mountain shook with thunder, fire blazed, smoke billowed, and the sound of a trumpet grew louder and louder. The people trembled as God descended in glory. From the flames came his covenant, the 10 Commandments, etched by his own finger upon stone, a law holy and eternal, binding heaven to earth, calling Israel to be a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. But even as God gave his word, rebellion stirred. While Moses remained on the mountain, the people grew restless. They cried to Aaron, "Make us gods who will go before us." From their gold he shaped a calf, and they bowed before it, feasting and dancing in idolatry. When Moses descended, tablets in hand, he saw their corruption. In fury he shattered the stones at the mountain's base. Judgment fell, thousands perished. Yet once again Moses interceded. "Blot me out of your book if you will not forgive them." The Lord relented, his mercy greater than wrath. A second set of tablets was carved, the covenant renewed, the glory of God shining upon Moses' face until he veiled it. God commanded a sanctuary that he might dwell among them. The people gave of their gold, silver, and skill. Bezalel and Oholiab crafted the ark, the lampstand, the altar, and the woven curtains of blue, purple, and scarlet. When the work was finished, the cloud descended, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. By day he led with a pillar of cloud, by night with a pillar of fire. The God who split the sea now walked with his people through the desert. Exodus closes not with arrival, but with movement. Israel was free, but not yet home. The promised land still lay ahead. Yet the covenant was sealed. The presence of God was among them, and the promise of deliverance stretched beyond their generation. Exodus is not merely the story of escape. It is the birth of a nation, forged in fire, guided by glory, destined for promise. It is the voice of the Almighty still echoing through history. "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me.